Poštovani gledatelji, dobar dan i dobrodošli u još jednu emisiju Balkan u Europi. Ja sam Ivana Dragičević.
A ja sam Borjan Jovanovski. Tema novo izdanje na debatata se odnosite na Evropskата unija со Турција. Ovi odnosi neodavna predstavitelotna Evropskата inicijativa za stabilnost Gerald Knaus ги опиша како однос на стар брачен пар осуден да остане заедно без љубов и меѓусебно почитување.
Razvod, čini se, nije opcija. Nemaju bračnog terapeuta i sve u njihovom odnosu na neki način frustrirajuće, govori Knaus, no kuća sada gori i ne mogu jedan bez drugoga. O tome koliko je važan odnos Turske i Europske unije od rješavanja izbjegličke krize do zaustavljanja rata u Siriji, u današnjoj emisiji Balkan u Europi razgovaramo se. Aleksandrom Štiglmajer iz Europske stabilizacijske inicijative. Dobar dan, dobrodošli.
Tonino Picula iz poslanika Evropskog parlamenta iz Socijalističke partije.
Dobar dan.
I s nama je također u Beču, with us on Skype from Vienna today is Vice President of the European Parliament, Mrs. Urlike Junaček. Welcome to our program today.
Dobar dan and welcome. Thank you for inviting me.
Let me start with the member of the European Parliament. What's the plan for the refugee crisis? Is there any chance to step out of the useless rhetoric and to take the concrete action that will have concrete effects on the ground? Mr. Picula, your country, Croatia, is facing a serious problem right now.
And now we have a deal with Turkey, so basically what is it all about?
I think it's a very unique and multifaceted situation. It's not possible to answer such a question in a couple of the sentences, but let's start from the basic. I think this is a pretty unique and I would like to say very dangerous situation, because we are witnessing a situation where almost all countries in transit, I'm talking about transit routes the refugees are passing through, are in election campaign, or they got elections or elections will take place, namely Turkey, Macedonia, Greece, Serbia, possibly, and for sure Croatia. So all the countries we are talking about as countries where refugees are crossing, they are exposed to internal disputes in this moment. And it's not the whole story. Refugee crisis, in a way, showed us that regional stability is still fragile. We are now witnessing also tensions in the region, and if we may put all that state of play in one frame, it's happening without coherent European Union policy on refugees. And now we are about to answer one interesting question regarding Turkey. For many years, Turkey had been estimated as a bridge from European Union to Middle East, of course, and that type of the neighborhood. Now, European Union, of course, a major player within European Union, perceived Turkey not anymore as a bridge, but a buffer. Interest of Europe at this moment to use Turkey or to negotiate it to Turkey to serve as a Libya once ago in Africa, to be a tampon zone between war-hit area, Syria and Iraq, and Europe.
But basically we don't know if Erdogan is not going to be a new Gaddafi in that sense, but he has elections on 1st of November and we'll see what happens. Maybe to go to Ms. Lunacek, this deal that European Union has with Turkey, does that solve the issue? What Mr. Picula said is just, making it even worse, or just like the fire measure, or is this just, a plaster on the open, deep wound we have?
And before, if I may add, I appreciate very much this very honest answer from Mr. Picula, saying that the main problem is the politics and the political interest. So any chance that we, because we are talking about the human lives and human destiny, what's most important, the human lives or the political interest of the political party and keeping power?
Well, if we were really wanting to live up to our core values of the European Union, then human lives should be first. Then saving refugees should be first. Then providing legal access for refugees should be first, and providing an organized way, a common European asylum system, a common European migration system that really deserves its name. We don't have that. We have, as Tonino Pizzula has said, we have elections all over the place. And I personally, not just personally, but also politically, I feel, and I have said that publicly as well, that this package deal that was done with Turkey by European Union leaders was a totally undeserved election present for Erdogan. This is something that shouldn't have happened. That you cannot do something like that 2 weeks before elections, especially when we see that Erdogan over the last weeks and months and his people have been starting to wage a war, not against Daesh and IS, but also and mostly against the Kurds, against PKK, but also against the elected opposition of HDP. And this sort of undeserved electoral presence is something that I find very problematic, extremely problematic. And it seems like the European Union leaders, some of them just want Turkey now to keep refugees off our backs. This is not what European Union policies should be doing. I find it extremely problematic that now, in times when some of those who until now didn't want to open any more chapters with Turkey, from my political group, from the Greens, we have been in favor of that in order to strengthen the European-minded people in Turkey, but also for visa liberalization. Now suddenly, even those who before, especially from the European conservatives, who were totally against that, now finally they want it, just because they want Turkey to keep refugees off our backs. This is not a policy that I would want the European Union to do. It is happening right now. But the problems we have is lack of political will and political courage and lack of structures in the European Union. Having member states who are not willing to take some refugees, to have a good distribution of refugees all over our 500 million European Union, that really is something where we miss solidarity. And I've been calling it not a crisis of refugees, but a crisis of solidarity.
Thank you very much. Ms. Stiegelmeier, European Stability Initiative called for kind of a serious comprehensive plan which will address 3 issues: laws, practicalities, policies of readmission, and you came out with a proposal which you called Turkey as a safe third country. Can you explain your proposal and what you basically think of the recent deal with Turkey and the European Union?
I mean, firstly, I don't think that there is a deal. I think both sides exchanged opinions and demands and went home. I don't think that much of what was discussed will be implemented. Secondly, I think that the current situation is not sustainable because at the moment, refugees risk the passage over the Aegean. Some drown, the sea is getting rougher. They're now going to the Balkans. Tens of thousands are piling up there. It's getting cold, so it will be very difficult for them to do the passage. And even in countries like Germany that welcome refugees, there is chaos, and some parts of Germany, some municipalities are at the limits. So our proposal is to make a serious deal with Turkey, which would require that Turkey takes back migrants from Greece and basically closes off the route. Mm-hmm. But at the same time that EU member states, and above all Germany, take refugees directly from Turkey. Our proposal is 500,000 in the next 12 months to be taken by Germany. Mm-hmm. Other EU member states should top up this number. And these people should then have, of course, safe passage. They should be flown into the EU. Things should be prepared. There should be accommodation, etc. Because if the situation continues, not only are the refugees vulnerable during the transit, it's also that we have very negative political repercussions. All the right-wing parties in EU member states are screaming hooray. I mean, it's like the thing that will really get them votes. So I think it's very important to find a solution to get more order into the situation and then work on everything else. And for that, a deal with Turkey is crucial because 3/4 have come this year via Greece and Turkey.
Ivana, se podsjetimo na šta se desilo u...
Tako je, you've mentioned Germany. We kind of discussed that Germany and Turkey are kind of axis to solve maybe this crisis. So let's remind ourselves what's being said, što je bilo rečeno tijekom boravka njemačke kancelarke Merkel u Turskoj. Evo izjava njemačke kancelarke Merkel, premijera Davutolua i predsjednika Erdoana. We can play the clip.
And this is they are greeting us.
Yasa dışı göçle mücadelede çaresiz insanları istismar eden insan kaçakçılarına karşı mücadelede birlikte çalışmaya hazırız. Ve bu konudan da Türkiye olarak her türlü işbirliğini hayata geçirmeye kararlıyız. Göç bir vaka ancak bunun düzenli ve yasal olması lazım. Düzenli ve yasal göç sağlanabilmesi için de Türkiye ile Almanya omuz omuza birlikte çalışacak. Göçü kaynağında engellemek için de Suriye sorununa çözüm bulmak konusunda da işbirliğimiz şarttır. Birincisi bu göçün ve mülteciler sorunun külfet paylaşımı çerçevesinde adil bir külfet paylaşımının olması gerektiği. Rakamlar önemli, rakamlar ikinci derecede önemli ama esas itibariyle külfet paylaşımı konusunda ortak bir irade sergilememiz. Son 4 yıl içinde maalesef Türkiye uluslararası toplum tarafından külfet paylaşımı konusunda yalnız bırakılmıştır. Bu bizim Suriye krizi ortada yokken mutabık kaldığımız bir husustu. 2017 için planladığımız bu konuyu 2016 içinde gerçekleştirebilmek için Avrupa Birliği süreci içinde, tabii bu Almanya tek başına değil burada, Avrupa Birliği ile birlikte ciddi bir çalışma yürütüyoruz. Ümit ederiz ki 2016 Temmuz itibariyle hem geri kabul anlaşması hem de Schengen vize uygulaması aynı anda devreye girer.
Und wir haben festgestellt, dass es im beiderseitigen Interesse ist, dass die daraus resultierenden Flüchtlingsbewegungen jetzt auch Richtung Europäische Union so bewältigt werden müssen, dass wir legale Möglichkeiten finden, aber auch bessere Möglichkeiten der Lastenteilung mit der Türkei. Aus all diesen gemeinsamen Herausforderungen gibt es gute Gründe, dass die Europäische Union und die Türkei vereinbart haben, dass sie enger auch in Fragen der Dynamisierung des Beitrittsprozesses und der Lastenteilung, aber auch der Visafreiheit und der Rückführungsabkommen zusammenarbeiten wollen. Und die dazu geführten Gespräche sind sehr erfolgsversprechend und werden ja auch fortgeführt.
Ayrıca terör örgütlerine karşı müşterek hareket etmemizin gereği üzerinde durduk. Ve biz tabii gerek Almanya'nın, Fransa'nın, İngiltere'nin, İspanya'nın bu tür ülkelerin bu konudaki desteğini ben kendilerinden özellikle rica ediyorum.
Well, it's obvious that Turkey is going to have some concession because European Union desperately needs Turkey right now to resolve this problem. Madam Lunacek, the progress report was postponed just for Turkey. It looks like that was the reason, just to avoid the criticism of the European Commission towards Turkey before the election. Could we expect some concession like this for the Western Balkans country and, for example, to swallow what is going on right now in Macedonia, when we have a Gruevski's government who is not follow at all some of the basic European values?
Well, I guess, I mean, I haven't heard that as the real reasoning, but I guess the reason for postponing all the 6 Balkan countries plus Turkey progress reports, postponing them to what is seen now as the 5th of November is something that happened because of the elections in Turkey. There will be this meeting that Juncker has called for Sunday with heads of states off the route, the transit route where refugees go, plus the countries in the European Union concerned. I don't really, I mean, I hope there would be, yeah? Apart from that, I don't like these kind of deals. And also, let me maybe say to Alexandra Stiegelmeier, I appreciate very much the work that the European Stability Initiative has been doing over the last years. I read lots of things from you, but with the proposal you're doing now, my problem with it is that it doesn't take into account the serious situation we have in Turkey right now that I addressed before. The upheaval of violence that we have seen over the last weeks and months, especially against people from opposition, HDP and others, and Kurds. This is not something which, and the peace process has been called off. Yeah, so this is something which I find problematic. Now, for the Balkans, I could see some issues where we should move ahead as European Union. I think, for example, as much as I've also been critical, and I think there will be criticism on the government of Gruevski in Macedonia, in the progress report, But it would really be great if, for example, the Greek government would move ahead and give the green light to negotiations for accession with Macedonia, and to have a deal on the name. Because I think if the government in Macedonia, and I mean, whichever the next government is going to be after the elections, they will have to work on something very concrete for citizens, whatever ethnicity they have in Macedonia. We have seen some progress just over the last 2 days for Kosovo with the SAA, the Stabilization and Association Agreement, having been given the green light by the Council just today, which is a great news, which I and many have been struggling for quite some time, and also that there's hope that really Kosovo can become
Madam
part
Lunacek,
of
let's still
UNESCO.
focus on refugee crisis.
Okay, yeah.
Mr. Pizzula, yes,
Just an
please,
answer,
yes.
yeah.
Very short. I think one has to differentiate between the political problems in Turkey, and of course the media is under attack, independent opponents are under attack, HDP and so on.
Many journalists have
And the
imprisoned,
refugee
unfortunately.
crisis. And the refugee.
Has accepted more than 2 million Syrians, which is the number, which is 10 times more than the EU until recently. It has given them accommodation. Things could be better in terms of education, in terms of access to the labor market, but it has been very generous to refugees, and you should not forget that. And the Turkish government repeats that, of course. Davutoglu
Of course,
said
but
it,
how to
but
find
they
a
are
balance
right in that.
between this
And
kind of
maybe
solidarity?
I can ask Mr.
Yes,
Pizzula, is, this whole idea of visa liberalization and, fastening up the pace of EU negotiations with Turkey realistic in any way? We have 78 million Turks, the largest diaspora in Germany. So how do you balance what Alexandra said, the serious refugee crisis, thousands of people on the move in very bad conditions, now deal with the Turkey, which has its own interior problems, and, a possible shift in Europe itself after all this, if this ever ends?
It's a riddle, of course, but I think politicians need to do something and find some tools to try at least to unlock that doors. Because I think it's now time of restarting. I think European Union should restart not only its relations with Turkey, but in Russia in a way. But it's an issue for itself. When it comes to Turkey, it's not easy to find a balanced approach to Turkey because when analyzing Turkey in refugee crisis, especially in Syria, we need to take into account at least 3 dimensions of Turkey's situation regarding the Syria. First of all, it's completely true. Turkey is a neighboring country of Syria, which hosted a great number of the Syrians inside, spending 9 billion euros in this moment in order to secure housing, basic health care, schools, housing in different ways. But second dimensions of the Turkey, when talks about the Syrian crisis, Turkey is taking a side in the Turkey. It's a country, which interfere in Syrian affairs, and of course it's attacking its enemies and supporting its allies. So in a way, we are asking from Turkey to help us to reduce number of refugees. On the other hand, Turkey is intervening in Syria, is creating. And of course, it's a third and very important angle of this triangle. Turkey is a candidate country for the European Union membership.
And a NATO member, let's not forget.
But let's stick for a while with the European Union perspective of the Turkey. Of course, if we are about to start to renegotiate Turkey, why not start with the chapter 23 and 24? And to see what is the real state of play of the Turkey society and Turkey politics' ability to, let's say, catch up to the European Union standard. Maybe it's a good idea for the start. And it's now funny to see Chancellor Merkel with Erdogan and Toglu, because it's well known that 3 countries in the European Union which were and are against Turkey entrance to the European Union are Austria, France, and Germany. We all remember that Madam Merkel offered a couple of years ago not membership perspective, but partnership to Turkey. Yeah. Now, of course, she needs to rewrite and change different language in order to secure Turkey as a partner in what now seems to be the worst crisis European Union is facing with after the 1990s.
So shall we play with Turkey based on principles or on real politics? Once we are in love with Turkey, so other day when we don't need Turkey because of the refugee crisis, we are going to offer something else and to ignore. So what's the future of the relationship with the EU and Turkey?
No, I think one can deal with Turkey based on principles. I don't think that one has to give them up. I mean, I wouldn't say that one should then ignore all the human rights violations in Turkey, and I hope they will be addressed. Or if Turkey does get visa-free travel next year in exchange for taking back migrants from Greece, it must be clearly stated that it has not fulfilled all the conditions, of which human rights are a big part, and Turkey must make a commitment to fulfill these criteria.
And there's also an issue, I think, of efficiency of this plan, which some say, as Ms. Lunacek, that it doesn't exist, some say that it exists. But basically, there's a pledge of around 3 billion euros to help Turkey from the European Union, you know, keeping the refugee issue at its territories.
Demand from Turkey.
Demand for 3 billion euros, but basically
there is no money.
There is no money in EU budget, and there is no country of the EU who kind of pledged to invest in that relations by,
And
cash.
It's not the only problem. We're talking about the money, who will pay for what. Don't forget that there is another, it's not now burning issue, but it's outstanding issue when talk about relations to Ankara. What's about Cyprus? And I've been heard, I don't know that it's correct, that one country is right now is opposing any serious deal with Turkey without, let's say, securing a step ahead relating the status of the Cyprus. So when we talk about the future deal with Ankara, Brussels, Ankara deal, it's multifaceted arrangement. It should be with the many interlocutors which should be addressed about it.
And Ms. Lunacek, we cannot forget about Athens in this issue because, Ankara-Athens relations are key. And basically for 5 years in Greece, there are thousands of refugees. No one did nothing. Then there was, economy deal with Turkey. But now we have really, a humanitarian crisis because of all that, not doing nothing.
But that is one of the problems I tried to refer to at the beginning, that the EU as such hasn't been taking the situation serious up until now, up until August. Because the situation in Greece, we've known that for years, There is a blocking of sending people back to Greece from other EU member states, even though the Dublin system still exists, where only the country where a refugee makes the first step on the European country territory, only there he or she can ask for asylum. That many EU member states didn't really look into it. And when it comes to money, I'm very sorry to say, there was plenty of money to save banks. And there's not enough money now to help refugees in camps. Be it in Turkey, I'm very much in favor of supporting Turkey with helping the refugees, but also for the refugees in Jordania, in Lebanon, around Syria. So money is there to be spent, and money has to be spent on that. Some EU member states, including my own, haven't even been paying enough of the obligatory contributions to organizations like UNHCR or UNICEF. This is scandalous. I mean, now they will try to get a deal with Turkey saying, well, you take them back, but we need to be able to finance it. And I'd like to come back also to the Balkans, because, and I was in Serbia just recently, and Tonino Picula was there as well with us, with the delegation of the Foreign Affairs Committee. We went to see the park where refugees, one of the parks where refugees are being also helped by citizens of Serbia. And we talked to Serb authorities. We went to a welcoming center. What I have to say is that Serbia really has been doing a great job in trying to support people, citizens and the government. There hasn't been any tear gas like we've had in Hungary, European Union member states. So it's about EU credibility as well. Now, not just to find some kind of deal also with the Balkan route states, but really support them as well when it comes to taking care of refugees. And when we talk about sending migrants, it's refugees. Most of them are real refugees. Sending them back, what would it mean sending them back to Turkey? I mean, is Turkey also a country that is safe? It is right now for 2 million people. But I mean, most of those who are in the refugee camps or who live in Turkey with friends or families, they come from Syria, and Syria is being bombed by Assad and by IS, by both. So that's what we also need, and there is going to be a meeting, a high-level meeting in Vienna just tomorrow, try to get some diplomatic mission on the ground to try to get peace there in Syria. Without that, all the deals will not help us in the long run.
Despite of money and no possible solution and mechanism to resolve the current crisis right now, the problem is that those people are going to stay for a long time in Turkey or in any
Lebanon
other
or
European country. What's about the source of the crisis and the involvement of the EU in the solution of this crisis?
Syria.
EU is going to continue to be just an observer of in the battlefield, in the geopolitical battlefield between Russia and the United States, or any EU idea how to involve itself in order to make something to resolve the source of the problem? Because those people finally want to go back home one day, I guess.
Yeah.
Plus the carry to get this meeting of foreign ministers or head of state together tomorrow. We need to get people from Russia and be Russian heads of state. Russia, also Iran, Saudi Arabia and Turkey on a table together with EU and US, and try to see how we can stop this war, stop this fighting, which is killing so many people and making millions refugees.
Ground zero of the conflict, of course, is in the Syrian internal situation. It was from the very beginning. But now we are talking about so-called proxy war. Now we can find many factions and many different organizations fighting in the Syria on behalf of someone. Of course, some of them got genuine interest and they are part of the Syrian society, but also there are many intruders and proxy warriors for someone. So I think it can be resolved only by international conference, or if you want, secret diplomacy, which is aimed to adjust, to synchronize many interests. First of all, Russia, United States, but some Syrian neighbor, which are very unwilling in this moment to participate in the peace process. They would like to, let's say, achieve some interest in the Syria via arms. Unfortunately, European Union in this moment is not coherent enough to run proper politics. It's a really soft power. It's a well-known description of the European Union. I would like to see European Union in this case not only as a soft but smart power, of course, to find a way how to efficiently contribute it to, let's say, feasible peace solution in Syria.
That's the question, how to make European Union any power.
It is. Yeah. Don't forget the truth that 7% of the world population in the European Union is producing 1/3 of the GDP of the world, and it's the greatest world donor, aid donor. So I think we got capacity to play more reliable and more efficient role in the foreign policy. But in this moment, I can see fractures. Within the European Union system, we got Parliament, the Commission on one side and Council on the other. And let's be bluntly true. The problem is not only in the European Union institutions. The problem is the member states. And let's face the truth. We need sustainable politics, but we need it more harmonized from the member states. Let's check the situation with the German and Britain initiative in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Why is it not possible to organize like that for the Syria? Between, let's say, remarkable member states or some others within the European Union for Syria. Why not?
Because probably Syrians would be more interested to get, EU member states inside than others.
Having in mind this, how do you see the foreseeable future in regard to this crisis?
I of course agree that the Syrian war should be stopped, but I also see that this unity in the EU with whom to talk or not to talk is a mess. And whatever is done, it will take months. And even if a ceasefire is negotiated, it will again take months until people will be able to return because everything is destroyed. So I think that this we have to find solutions for the current crisis. The people who are now in Turkey waiting for the passage to Greece, or in Serbia, or Croatia, or Slovenia, etc.
But when you see the situation as it was explained by Mr. Picula within the European Union, what's the perspective? When you see how is the situation within the European Union, as Mr. Picula explained, how do you see the perspective?
To resolve the migration crisis? I think that the EU will do, so often, too little, too late. I mean, what will happen if Germany really says we can't take any more? What is then with the whole line of people in the queue in the Balkans? I mean, I think that the EU should really sit down and also look at numbers, how many people are likely to come in the next 2 weeks, of the measures that I agreed, how long it will take to implement them, and step up their efforts. Because I think there's still a little bit a too relaxed attitude.
I would like to thank our guests from Vienna with us. There was Urlike Janeček, Vice President of the European Parliament, Tonino Picula, representative in the European Parliament, and Aleksandra Stiglmaier from the European Stability Initiative. Poštovani gledatelji, pratili ste još jednu emisiju Balkan u Europi. Hvala vam što ste i danas bili s nama na programu N1 televizije. Srdačan pozdrav.
Bilo razumijevanje.